Hey, it is Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. I am here live on my Facebook show, Backstage with Cindy Rowe, and I have a fun guest today, somebody who I have not met in person yet, but we met through a Facebook group here for State Line entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs. Karen, welcome to my show. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing great.
Thanks so much for joining me. So, you own a business with a really cool name. Why don't you tell everybody what that is and what your business is?
So my shop's name is Nine Bells and Cattails. It's a metaphysical shop, and we also do feature a lot of local artists who make things that kind of fit along our line of, the theme, which is more nature-based and different spiritual practice-based. So we do feature a lot of local artists. We also carry a lot of little antique knickknacks that you can use, repurpose it. That's a better word. Repurpose it for different spiritual practices. I like finding interesting things that you can use for different things. So I do that. We do have consignment items in the shop as well. So it's kind of a very eclectic mix of things. Yeah.
So where can people find your shop?
So we used to have a standalone building. We recently moved, and so since then we've had a little bit of trouble with people finding us. We are actually sharing a building with Creekside Music Academy and with S1 Construction Business. So when you look at the front of our store, you'll probably see the Creekside Music Academy banner bigger because it's up top, and then underneath has my chalkboard thing that says Nine Bells and Cattails. So we're in the same building. It's the same entrance for all of those businesses, and I'm connected to Creekside Music Academy as well. So my office is there for that, and my shop is down the hall. You just come in there. It's 421 East Grand Avenue. Just a few doors down from the Flying Pig. Most people know that.
In Beloit, Wisconsin.
Yes, in downtown Beloit.
Awesome. So was your previous storefront in Beloit as well? Have you always been in the Beloit area?
It was literally just on the next block, not even probably one block away. We closed that when we had to close down for COVID. Yeah. And my friend, she owns the Creekside Music Academy. And so we combined it since there was a lot of space in the middle of the building. And so she offered if I would like to bring my shop there. And so that's where we've been since June.
Great. So how did you get the idea concept for this business? What made you start it?
Well, I always wanted to own a shop since I was young. I had, found those little bells that you can ring that's up by the register. I had found one of those in an antique shop while I was in college. So that's what's on my counter right now. So I've always wanted a shop. The kind of shop that I wanted, I knew that I wanted it to be art related somehow, to get artists. I have a lot of friends who are artists, and it's hard to get their names out there. So I knew I wanted it to be somehow related with that, and also with some spiritual practices, because my family, we're not, very religious, but my father's side of the family, we are a temple family. So I come from a long background of history of our Buddhist temple in Japan. And I'm also very interested in, different practices. So I wanted it to be somehow, involved with that as well. It just the opportunity just kind of came up. So it wasn't a planned thing. I didn't have a business plan or anything. Just did it.
Just kind of fell together. And sometimes that's the best way for things to happen,
Yes.
When everything in the universe comes together and it just makes it happen. So that's super cool. When you say spiritual, metaphysical. Can you kind of explain what that is to somebody that may not be familiar?
So some of the spiritual practices that you can learn about in our shop is, witchcraft, Wiccan, uh, Yoruba is South African, Santeria, that's also, another practice. We have just a whole Buddhism. You can find, a lot of information about Buddhism. So all of those practices are under the same umbrella as pagan, under the pagan umbrella. So most of the things that are featured in there are related to that, category.
Okay. And besides the art that you can purchase with the trinkets, do you offer services,
Yes.
services to people that may be interested in this kind of thing?
Yes. So we offer classes through our shop, and we used to offer more. We're kind of starting to get back into that now that we're coming back out of the whole COVID stuff. So right now, like this weekend, we have a crystal class that's going to be happening. It's Crystal 1 and 2. We are having a tarot class next month, how to use tarot cards, how to read tarot. We will also be scheduling like psychic self-defense classes again. We do hold a women's circle at the end of the month. The last, well, I guess not always the last, but the fourth Thursdays of every month. And that's just the 1 hour that people can just come and get together. And we do talk about, people will bring up some of their things like traumas and things like that too. And this is more of a support group that they can come there, and also they can come to find a lot of resources. So if it's not something that I can do or help with, I do know a lot of resources. So it's a great place to come for that. We do tarot readings. So I do tarot readings at my shop. You can schedule those. And henna tattoo. It's coming back now because the summer season's starting. So I've been doing more of those lately. So I do offer henna. And then some of the other services that I haven't really put out there yet, I've only done if somebody has specifically asked me for it, are customized spell kits. If somebody wants to do something on their own and they aren't sure exactly how I can create one for them. I've also done custom spells for them and blessings, things like that. And also a lot of our bracelets and stuff are all made. So those, it's custom bracelets, but the way we do it is when people will send me their pictures or their situation, and then I do kind of a reading for them and then create what I feel like they would need in a bracelet form using crystals. So
That's fun. That's you have a lot under one little roof.
yes, we
so,
do.
What's your background? Why why did this kind of come about?
Well, like I said, my family, actually, we're all from, well, I'm not, but my parents and the rest of my whole family are all born and raised in Japan. And I'm the only one in our family that was born and raised here. And but my parents sent me back like every single year to Japan.
Oh,
and I spent time at my both parents' side of the family. My father's side, I usually spent more time there because they needed more help, and it was just, they're the ones that have the temples that's been in our family for 34 generations. So quite a bit. It's been a long time that it's been there. And I think I've just always been interested in a lot of different practices like that. So I've always explored a lot of different ones. And I always come back to my roots, which is Buddhism based. The way I started to learn a little bit more about like the witchcraft practices is because I was looking actually for a temple. Our family temple is Nichiren Buddhism. And so I was looking for that out in this area, and I found a couple, but they are not very, they weren't the traditional structure that I was used to. And so I just didn't resonate with them.
Sure.
And one of my readers that read for me tarot cards for the first time back in like 2000, he started talking to me about it a little bit more. And I believe he was like Catholic, and he was practiced, I want to say Santeria. So when he started talking to me about it, I noticed that a lot of it go hand in hand with Buddhism. A lot of the belief systems, like the basic belief systems, how they practice and how they live. It's more like a way of life. And it was easily accessible, a lot more than the Buddhist stuff. So I started looking into that, and I resonated with a lot of the teachings. So I just started to study it, and I've had different teachers over the years. So it's been a fun journey.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And I love that you're kind of true to your background, your family, and your culture, and bringing that to the masses per se. So,
The masses in Beloit.
but you've got to start somewhere, right?
Yes.
So, not having a business background, what has been one of the hurdles that you've had to overcome having this grand idea and then kind of having it unfold for you? I'm sure it hasn't been smooth sailing since you opened up your doors. So what's a hurdle that I guess maybe you weren't expecting or thinking about?
I think so my study in college my degree isn't like with piano performance, so it has nothing to do with business. And I've never been interested in business. The only thing is I just had this concept, and I'm interested in the storefront portion, but the back office stuff, that stuff, I did not realize how much goes into running a business. So that's one of the things that I'm struggling still to learn, and I'm getting better.
Being forced to get better.
Yes,
it doesn't go away if we want to ignore it.
It doesn't. And also the other thing is, being a little bit more computer savvy, and everything's, especially it seems like with when we got shut down, everything went virtual or online, and trying to get caught up, learning how to use all the features and all of those things, that's been a challenge. And I'm trying to get some of my stuff started to get put up online on my online shop on my website. We haven't opened it yet, the store, but that's been a process. It's a lot more than I thought. So it's probably a good idea to have a business plan.
So. Perhaps it might be. I won't even ask if you have a marketing plan. So we're going to assume you don't. But
no.
So your background or what you went for college or to college for, and what you're doing now, not really the same thing, but you've had it in your heart or maybe in your soul that you wanted to own this business, and it's been like a dream come true, right? And you're stumbling through it, but it's been a good stumble process.
It is. It's something that I want to wake up to every single day. I enjoy the people that come in. I'm learning so much, not just, I'm not just, giving people information or, sharing what I know, but I've learned so much about, other things. And it's interesting because, with the music stuff, I still teach as well. So I do teach piano there at Creekside Music Academy and through Beloit College. And it all kind of works together. I'm not really sure how to explain that, but it doesn't seem separate. They don't feel separate, and it all works and it all kind of flows together. So I don't know if it's because it's an art form, and we do have a lot of that in the shop. So I don't know if it's that, but it seems to, it seems to work. And a lot of it is about self-expression and, things like that too. So that's another aspect, that it's the music side and the shop side, and, really understanding yourself and, things like that. It all kind of works together. So
yeah, I can see that now that you're explaining it, the journey of being an artist or a musician, and having that spiritual side to it. It's kind of mirrors one another, maybe.
it does a lot more than you think.
So with your business having the storefront, do you have employees, or is it just all on you?
I've had a few employees, and I have somebody right now. She came in as a volunteer rather than to be employed there, and she is really great. She's one of my friend's daughters, and kind of like a daughter that I never had. So it's been really fun to have her in the shop, and it's not such a, I don't have somebody like, they're always going to be here from this time to this time every single week. I don't have anybody like that. So officially it's just me, like I'm the only one that's doing it. I do have somebody that's now helping me with my business side, and I do have somebody that's going to be helping me put my stuff online, because she's good at that. So I have help here and there. I have yet to employ like an official employee. I think, maybe if we get bigger or expand, that's eventually going to probably be needed. Because right now, if I go somewhere, the store has to close.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's mostly just myself and my kids. Sometimes I get them to help me.
What does your dream of your business look like in the next few years? Like, where do you envision it growing and expanding? And if you could have one thing that you offer, what would that be? I just asked several questions, so feel free.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think I've thought of those things. I haven't thought about it recently as much because I've been so focused on right now. But, with my shop, I never imagined it getting like big, like expanding and having a second store and all that stuff. I always have, the way I see it is I just wanted to keep it small and more personal. I think that that's what sets me apart from a bigger store. So I don't see a whole lot changing as far as like, the size or how to grow. I do, when I had the standalone building, it is nice to have that. I like sharing the space as well, but it is also nice to have like your own space. And, eventually someday, if I had any dream, like I would like to find some place ideal that would have its own building, a standalone building, and have a place for a garden and have a place, because I would love to offer stuff like that, or even offer some of the classes outside, or, be able to do that. Since we're just in this little building in downtown, so there's not a whole lot of places to do that. So I do look for that, but not look for that yet. I figured the right place will show up when it's meant to be. So yeah.
I love that you say that too. It will happen when it's meant to happen. And part of me too, with my business goals, I've never seen myself as like an agency. So I have a marketing consulting business, but I never wanted it to be so big that I had all these people working for me, because I enjoyed the intimacy of actually working with the small business owner. And that's very special for me. And I didn't want to give that up. And I feel like you kind of I'm hearing you say that same thing. You like having that small feel, so you know your customers that come in, and you're able to learn from them, and they're able to learn from you, and it's not really a hey, thanks for buying or whatever. It's you're building that relationship, and that I think that's super cool, and especially something like the store that you have. People, if they feel comfortable,
it's very personal.
And personal, they're more apt to tell more people, and maybe trust what you're telling them a little bit more. So then, if you're like a Walmart type of place,
I think that's part of the reason why I've had trouble finding or wanting to hire a full-time employee. Just because I always feel like I want to be the one that speaks to the people that come in, and I want to be the one that is there to answer questions. I do bring in teachers to teach some classes where they have more expert knowledge on the topics that's being taught. But as far as interaction and getting to know my customer base and spirituality stuff is pretty personal. So it just doesn't feel like a big store thing if I'm going to really try to promote growth, personal growth and all those things versus, just selling things. So yeah, the selling part is kind of a plus, and it feels more like my shop is just a way to reach people, like a platform that I have so that I could reach more people. So that's kind of the idea. That's it. The same idea with the artwork that's in there. So yeah.
I like that. That's awesome. So because of COVID, you lost your original space. You were able to find new space that you're making work for you. What's something positive that came out of COVID for you and your business?
For me, it was, it kind of forced me to learn that, technology business side. I didn't really have a choice in that. And it did make me think about things like an online shop. I never thought of an online shop before. My goal was just to have a storefront, and I wasn't really interested in doing the online thing, but I'm noticing, that's forced me to look at that side more. And I see the benefits of that as well. So I think my ideas, I was so set, like, nope, I'm not going to have a store, like online store, and I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. But then it's kind of forced me to have to look at those things, and it's not as scary and bad as I thought. So that's a good thing, that's growth for me anyway.
A little bit of a extra nudge to get you.
Yeah, a big nudge.
So we have a comment from another Karen. Karen was actually one of my guests previously. She's asking about your Facebook page or website. And Karen, I will put those up on the screen for you so you can check her out online. But I have to ask a question on the name of your business. How did that come about? Tell us the story behind that.
Well, so I wasn't sure what I wanted to name it. So we threw around a bunch of things that had spiritual meaning to me personally. And for me, like 9 and 13 are usually numbers that I use a lot for, they're kind of my good luck numbers. I love cats, and we've always had cats. And I was like, well, I want to involve that somehow. And something that if people saw it, they might understand that it might be a metaphysical shop. I don't know if that part really worked out with my name, because I've had people come in to ask if I wash cats. So yeah, I'm like, no, we don't shop for cats. But we threw out a few, and we were thinking, oh, black cats, and witchy people would connect that. But then with 13, we weren't sure if that, sounded good enough. So then we were like, okay, we'll use the 9. So that's my lucky number. And the bells portion of it was, I wanted something in there about bells, just because bells are protective, and they, I always have them hanging on my door or doorways. And so I wanted that in the name as well. For me, it felt like it would help protect my shop, once I established it. So then it was the cat part. And my son also, who loves cats, thought it'd be great to do cat butts. And he said, no, we're not doing cat butts. And
Oh,
he thought
that's
it was
great.
hilarious, and he thought it would be great. And so then we were like, well, what about tails? Like, cat tails. Maybe that'll be better. And so then he's like, okay, I like that too. And so he kind of got that portion. He named that portion and put the cat portion in there. So it kind of, when we threw around different wordings or order of the words, and just 9 bells and cattails just kind of flowed. So that's kind of how it came up. The name wasn't something that I had always thought of until we actually had the storefront. So yeah, and I actually just recently finally did a logo, like in the last month, and we've been open for a while. So yeah,
That's great. That's super great. I love the story. I love that your son helped
yes,
inspire
fun
you.
at the time. So cat butts was really funny to him.
It's great though. It's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. I think cattails is much more
Yes.
fitting.
So I don't know that, people always know just from reading the name, because they say your name should let people know what your store is all about. So I don't know that we accomplished that part, but I think it's been working. So it took a while to get ourselves out there for people to know what we actually did in our shop.
So that brings me to a really good question then. How did you market yourself? What has been the most successful way to get your name out there and have people find you, in your opinion?
In the beginning, it was just all I had was the Facebook, and I pretty much only have that. I just got the website this past year, I think a year ago. And so it wasn't really, marketed like properly, or I didn't pay anybody to help me market. That wasn't really in my budget, because when I started it, it wasn't, I didn't get a loan or anything like that. I just did it with my own money. So I didn't really have, budget for marketing. So in the beginning, I did do flyers and just passing those out and posting them up around the local businesses that let me put stuff up. Word of mouth, and then I found out about Instagram that's connected to Facebook that I didn't realize. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I started using that, and that seemed to increase the people, because I'm, they're on there a lot, and so they see it. So I'm trying to be better about posting. My goal was to always post something each day, like from the store, and then explain it or tell about it. And I had done that. I had started to do that, and the last few weeks I kind of fell away from that. So I started to, again, literally like this week, started to try to get my stuff on there more. I think it's just, I'm learning that the constant activity is probably what helps the most.
Yeah, consistency and good content is always the key in social media marketing.
Yeah.
Remaining consistent, finding your voice on each platform too is really key.
Yeah, so I think it's more just remembering to do those things.
With all the other things we have as business owners, right?
Right. So
I get that.
I've done, though.
I've enjoyed our conversation. It's been a half hour. I told you it goes fast.
It does.
I'd love to give you an opportunity at the very end to promote, whether it's events or how to reach out to you or whatever. So the platform's yours. You can tell everybody about what you do, where you are, how, whatever. Just
Okay. So we are with Nine Bells and Cattails. We're located in downtown Beloit, 421 East Grand Avenue, just a few doors down from the Flying Pig. We are located inside the same building as Creekside Music Academy, so you might actually find that one first. But it's the same door, so you can come in and just come down the hall. We have been doing classes again at the shop. The one coming up this Saturday is our Crystals 1 and 2. We have a few others, tarot reading classes and psychic self-defense coming up. So you can check out all of that on our Facebook page. On Facebook, just put in Nine Bells and Cattails. Same with our Instagram, and our website is also just all Nine Bells and Cattails, just all squished together. And if you're ever interested in henna tattoos or tarot readings, custom jewelry, things like that, please come on in and just ask me about it. I will always be there. So I look forward to seeing you guys here into my shop.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So can they private message you on Instagram or Facebook if they have a question or want a special reading or anything like that?
Yes, you can contact me via Facebook Messenger. The phone number for our shop, maybe we can put that up later.
Yep.
That number does come straight to my cell phone, so you can just reach me personally through that phone number. And I've also done readings over Zoom or even just questions through Messenger. I've had people ask for readings that way. But yeah, you can definitely contact me through my phone number or any of those platforms.
What's the phone number? And I'll put it on here for
626-537-5329.
Maybe.
Yep, there it is.
All right. And actually, we had one last comment from Karen, and she says, thank you. Very interesting topic. So thank you, Karen, for tuning into my chat with this Karen. Appreciate that. So yes, awesome. I appreciate your time. It was awesome to get to learn more about your business. And now that I have office space in Beloit, I'm going to have to walk down and say hello and meet you in person.
That would be great.
Well, thank you so much. And we will see you next week. Have a good day.